Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is where you are, and welcome back to another episode on the Annoyed Dad channel. In today's episode, we are on to the next part of our egg to chicken series, and today we are looking at chick care. And as you can see, we're down here at the yard with the big brooder. There is a reason why we're down here with the big brooder. It's because the two that we kept at home, remember the one with the poorly leg and the one that was a bit late hatching? We're actually bringing them in today, and we're going to put them in with these guys. So we've already covered the brooder, we've looked at the brooder, so let's take a look at chick care. Now, I am purposefully doing this on a normal day, just to show you how it is. I haven't been in here and I haven't done anything yet, I haven't changed anything, I haven't swapped anything, so it's all exactly as I would find it on a normal day. So as you can see, it's not the cleanest, because I haven't cleaned them out yet. And we've got stuff to sort out. Now, first things first, we are down to 11 in here. Let's just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11. Yeah, 2, 4, 6, 10. Yeah, 11. I had to count them twice then, just to make sure. The reason being is because we came down here one day and one of them had died. No rhyme or reason or explanation. It can sometimes happen that a chick might just die. Obviously, it can happen with humans. It can happen with any sort of animal. They're still a little bit flighty. They're about 2 weeks old now. But yeah, they're starting to grow their wings. You can see them, and their tail feathers are starting to come through. It's about at this stage you can take a rough idea as to what sex they're going to be. And my untrained eye tells me that there might be 3, 4 cockerels in there. But the rest might be hens. So yeah, so looking after these guys is quite easy. They need crumb, which is put into here, and as you can see, they've kicked up all of the other bits and pieces, and I need a bit of a refill. One of those, it does them about 2 days, and you can see the water. This has actually still got lots of water in it, but they also kick up the stuff, and then they go rooting around in there to find the water. Now, one of the things I do, as you can see, if I get that out of the way, because that needs changing in a second, is I use, to start off with, I use these trays for the feeders. So that's a feeder tray, but I just turn it over and I just put it in. When the birds get a little bit bigger, I then use a brick. And what that helps to do, as you can see on this one here, is it just helps... Get that out of the way, does that make lighting better? That does make lighting better. There we go. Is it just helps just to lift it up, so as when they go scratching through all of this stuff, they don't kick it all into there straight away. Obviously, the bigger the birds get, the more they're going to scratch, the more they're going to kick up, and the more you end up with stuff getting in there. So I'm going to clean these two out, I'm going to refill them, and then we'll come back and we'll look at the other two that are going in. Okay, so there we go, that's these two refilled. As I said, just at the minute, they're going through one of these about every 2 days. And the water, we're just changing it every day. It's not getting emptied, but we're just changing it every day just to make sure. So we've got the two little guys who are coming in. So these are the ones that we had at home, and this is the one that had the splayed leg. So you can see that straight away his leg is no longer splayed. I'm just struggling to hold the camera, but you can see if you look at that claw down there, if it lets me show you it, it's still bent around. I'm trying to get it at an angle where you can still see it, because I'm holding the camera at the same time. I've left his mate behind. That's what that chirping is. Right, let me just put him down and change the camera angle. Okay, so you saw what we've done with the splayed leg, where we just basically, chicks don't like being held upside down, where we basically just held the legs together like this. And what you can see there, it isn't causing him any pain, don't worry, it's because he's being held, that's why he's screaming like that. And what we've also done is we spent a couple of days where these legs have actually been taped with a bit of cardboard on either side, just to hold them flat, to try to encourage them to grow straight. So you can see there I can hold it out straight, but there it rolls back around like that. That's how it should look, and that's how it does look. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave it, and we're going to see if it grows out, because quite often they do actually then just start to grow out normally, and we will see. We'll give it a little while, but you can see that the splayed legs has been rectified because they're now straight. So let's put him into there, and then we'll grab his little mate. And this was the other one. This was the one that was a little bit later hatching. And so, oh, that's a problem. He just flew up to the side. I didn't realise that they could fly. These guys have obviously been practicing and not been telling me. So yeah, this is his mate, the other one. So we'll put him in. So we're now up to 13 in here. They're still going to be on the heat. This is really the stage. You go from having lots happening, where the eggs are in the incubator and then they hatch and then you're getting them into the brooder and then everything's going really, really quickly. You are going to be a flighty one, aren't you? I can see that. Let me just do this. There we go. So you go from the busy stage where there's lots happening, lots doing, and then you get to this stage now where there's not a lot that happens. Yes, they grow quickly. Yes, they eat a lot. Yes, they walk around. But there's not a lot that you need to do. You need to look after them, obviously. You need to give them food. You need to give them fresh water. You need to keep their bedding clean and dry. You need to keep an eye on them. You need to monitor them. But you don't really need to do anything else. It no longer becomes time consuming, and you don't need to think about the next step or the next step or the next step, because they're just going to grow naturally. So you just leave them to it. You can take them out, you can hold them. This is really the time where if you want to have a bird which is going to be like the cockerels that we're able to pick up and just hold and have on our shoulders and everything else like that, this is the time where you need to be handling them, playing with them, socialising them and doing all of that lot. Other than that, there's not a lot that you need to do. Okay, so I've just knocked off the heat lamp there because that gives off a big red light, and that then enables us to look at the birds. Now, as I just said, these guys are coming up to 4 weeks old now, and they're still a little bit nervous, still hiding in the corner a little bit, but they do come out and see you. And we can start to see that they've lost most of their down feathers, which is their little chick feathers, and they're starting to grow their other feathers. This, of course, means that they are getting a little bit flighty, and they will quite easily fly out of this box and go off and explore around and have a look about. Now, what we've done is when we move them into here, we tried to keep the heat around 37 degrees. So they had the heat lamp, which is that one just there. And because we got so many, we have the 2 electric hens that they've nicely pooped all over the top of. So what we've gradually done is over time, we've lowered down the temperature just by turning off these guys. So we can raise these up higher, but we normally don't bother because the chicks like to get underneath them and they dig about and they have a good old look around and they see what's down underneath. But they also get on top where it's also warm and they like to sit. But then we turn them off gradually over time, and once the chicks have got the feathers pretty much over the whole of their back, that's roughly when we say we can move them outside, as long as there's no adverse weather coming in. So now we're at the start of May, and there isn't going to be any frost advertised or any issues like that, thankfully. Also at this stage, you can start to have a look at them and you can start to work out roughly which ones you think are going to be boys and which ones you think are going to be girls. It is still a bit of a guessing game and you might get it wrong. So what we do is we look at the combs on them and we try to work it out from the combs as to which ones are going to be which. So the reason why they're staying huddled in the corner is because I'm over here talking. If I went quiet, they would come over and investigate. So these guys are currently fed on a chick crumb. They get the crumb, and gradually in a couple of weeks, from about 6 weeks old, I normally start to mix them in with what's called a grower's pellet. And then gradually I'll wean them off of the crumb and totally over onto the grower's pellets. But these guys are just going to be in here for a little while longer. and then once they leave here, they'll be in an indoor enclosure, but off heat, and then once they get a little bit bigger, they'll be going outside. So, shall we catch some and have a look and have a catch up on some and see what's going on? Okay, so if we was to do the sexing based purely on the combs, I would say that the one on the left is a female, this one here, and the one on the right is a male. Because you can see that the one on the right has got a more prominent comb, and the one on the left has got a little one. So we had Mrs. Manky Toe as well, the one with the leg issue, and I will try and grab her out. Okay, so this is the bird that had the splayed leg. If you remember the leg that went off to one side, and you can see that her legs, yeah, I know, darling, you just want to fly off. So you can see that her legs are no longer growing off to the side, but she also had the claw that we tried to hold flat for 2 days, and you can see now her foot, rather than it being, see if you can see, so rather than it being flat like you would expect a claw to be, it curls itself up. Now there are times where this will actually grow out in a bird, and there are times where it won't, and then it starts causing issues. We are watching her very, very closely just at the minute to see if it's going to grow out in her or if it's going to cause her any issues. We're hoping she's going to be all right, but we'll just have to wait and see. And I think it's a she by the comb on the head there. But yeah, that seems to be the only real problem with the birds, is just her with her legs. So the other leg, no, it's that one there that was splayed, wasn't it? So yeah, it's all back in straight. You can see them just there. And yeah, she's fine otherwise. Growing nicely. She's as big as the others. So yeah, what we'll do now is we'll nip back over to home, where I've got some other chicks that we're also caring for, and we'll take a look at them. And as if by magic, we have ended up back in my shed. So what you can see here is I've got an old Fium incubator. I think they're Italian. Yeah, Italian. It didn't work with the Turner, so I just use it as like a little brood box. It looks dirty, but you just can't seem to get it clean. So it's nice and big. And in here, I've actually got 2 turkeys. I don't know if you can see them in there, but it is nice and hot today. Nice and hot this afternoon. They hatched out over the weekend. So let's take a look at them. Hello. So there you go. These are turkey chicks. This is the first one. And literally, you just put them straight into the brooder. Now, there are some people who say, oh, crikey! I'm just being very. Oh, I didn't have hold of him properly. That is a right little wriggler. That one. Come here, wriggler. There we go. So this one here was a right little wriggler. I didn't have hold of him properly, and it was just a little bit more of a wriggler than I was expecting. So there are some people who say you need to dip their noses in the water, you need to dip their noses in the food, you need to do this, do that. I personally don't find that there is any need to. They will find the water themselves, and after one has found it, the other one will just get in there and it will follow suit, and it will find it as well. So yeah, that is just basically it. If you've got any questions about chick care, anything you want to know, anything you think I might have missed, leave it down in the comments below, and if I need to do another follow-up video, then I will do. But where we go with the eggs, and there's stuff that's changing, and there's stuff that you have to do, and it has to be done at a certain time, and it must be done like this and like that, and then follow on. Once they become chicks, it slows down a little bit. You have to give them a couple of weeks to grow, and you treat them exactly the same on the crumb with the water. They grow, and then once they get to maybe 6 weeks old, I then start to introduce them onto the growers pellets, and then they go over fully to the growers pellets. We'll cover that in the next video. And then they go up till they're 6 months of age, which is when they mature pretty much. And then once they reach that age, you then move them over to the layers pellets, because they're layers. So it is quite easy at this stage from here onwards. Just as long as you keep them safe and you keep them warm, fed and watered. Ladies, if you're listening, that's how your husband likes to be treated as well. And then, yeah, they will make great pets for you, or great food, or whatever you're going to use them for. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and until next ones, bye bye.